supporters, welcome back to my channel. It's time for another recap of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Now, in this week's episode, we kick off with Scrappy talking about selling out like arenas and like venues and whatnot. And I'm wondering, how does a rapper who's been doing this for years and allegedly sells out all these places get evicted from his home? Where is all of the money going? And by the way, to be honest with you, if someone held me at gunpoint and told me to name even one little Scrappy song, I'd be dead because I don't know any songs by this man, okay? I probably do if I looked it up, but I couldn't tell you anything off the top of my head. And that's just that. I'm quite shocked that he's been able to do this for as long as he has, but that is neither here nor there. So he gets with this girl named Diamond after doing the concert that he was bragging about. Mind you, he's still married to Bambi at this point. And he says that he is going to have a little meetup with Diamond because Bambi doesn't make him feel like a king. And I'm just sitting here like, the audacity of these deadbeat men. Like, on what planet should a woman make you feel like a king when you are getting her and you guys' children evicted from a house? That is not even peasant behavior. That's below peasant, because peasants are just, they're trying to make it, and you literally could not give a F-U-C-K. You were too busy trying to creep around with women instead of taking care of your family. Like, hell no. Now, I want to say something, and I don't know if you guys are Shekinah fans or anything like that, and I don't want to be rude to her, but like, I have a really difficult time, and I've always had a difficult time with understanding her when she speaks. Like, I think I tried to watch her and Tiny's like reality show, but the two of them together, I'm like, oh my God, is this, I can't. So I was a little bit, when I saw her on the show. She's a pretty girl and everything, but I have a hard time with her version of English. So she goes to Spice's house to check up on her and see like the new place. And Spice is quite passive aggressive with her. And this whole time I'm like, well, why'd you let the girl come to your house if you're just going to be really cold with her? And so Spice lets it be known that the reason why she's being kind of passive aggressive towards Shekinah is because she's mad that Shekinah did not visit her in the hospital when she was having her medical complications in the DR. So I get it at that point. But I do also have to ask you guys, speaking of the Dominican Republic, which is known for BBLs and whatnot, and let's keep it real, Spice's body looks like it's made on a surgeon's table. So was she having plastic surgery complications? Is that what was going on with her? Because that is quite scary, especially to be in that place doing all of that. There are a lot of kind of horror stories that come out of the DR. Now, Shekinah claims that she wasn't even given the address or information about the hospital or anything like that by Mita or whatever, who was taking care of everything. And Shekinah claims that the reason she wasn't given anything was because Mita is friendly with Carly Red, who hates Shekinah. Like, they're beefing together, and that's why she feels like she was left out of the situation. And I gotta be honest, when Shekinah first told this story, I was like, I don't know if I believe her. It just kind of sounds like BS and excuses, and like maybe she didn't want to go all the way to the DR. She's probably got her own things going on. Like, if that's the case, I wish she would have been just like straight up and honest about it, right? And Ice calls BS on Shekinah's story as well. She's like, well, wait a minute. That doesn't make sense that Mita would let Carly Red come to the hospital and not you, because Mita knows that I am not on speaking terms with Carly Red. So it would be weird that she would allow Carly to come and not you. So I'm not exactly buying your version of the story, which makes sense to me. I'm team Ice on this situation. I do think that Shekinah is lying, but Shekinah does apologize nonetheless for not being there for Spice in the hospital, and they ultimately decide to make up and move forward with their friendship. By the way, you guys, just an FYI, the way that I watch Love and Hip Hop Atlanta for free is, first of all, I signed up for a VPN, which allows you to watch like international shows on international websites without problem. And I got like a year membership to it. So I go to ctv.ca to watch it via MTV Canada. Like, you have to purchase the VPN, but it's free to watch the shows on like these sorts of websites once you have the VPN. So I've got a link, an affiliate link to the one that I use in the description box down below if you would like to get one for yourself. Now let's get into Scrappy's mom, Mama D. She's like the typical like overly involved mom that seems in love with her son or something like that. Like he can do no wrong, even though he's getting his family evicted, he's behind on child support for other children and whatnot. She says that she likes Bambi as a human, but not as a person. And she's decided to stop attacking her. But in the same kind of scene, she decides to put a rumor out there that to Chaotic and Amy, that Diamond, who is the girl that Scrappy has been seeing behind Bambi's back, might be pregnant. So in saying that, she's already letting it be known that Scrappy and Diamond have been banging, which is a horrible thing to put out there when Bambi's already sad about the loss of her family. So that really icked me out. I don't like moms like that, to be honest with you. It's just weird and inappropriate. Now, speaking of Mrs. D, let's get to her son. Scrappy, he tells Safari that he's a sex addict. And I'm sorry, but I don't know how Scrappy pulls women, because to me, like, he looks like he has bad breath. So like, it's just not anything I would ever go near, to be honest with you guys. So I'm surprised that he's even able to pull women. And like I said earlier, I could not name a single Scrappy song at gunpoint either. So it's just not good, right? All the way around. And by the way, he's broke. He's getting his family evicted. Girls, why are your standards on the ground? Let's collectively raise our standards. So men like this will have to step up in order to get with women. Now, there's this Amy girl. She claims that a rapper named Rennie stole her song. At this point, I'm like, I don't know who Amy is. I barely know who Erica Banks is. I only know that like pandemic song, Busted or whatever, that went around. So like, I'm feeling like we're getting too many new characters, right? And people we don't really even know like that. I don't personally care that much that Rennie stole Amy's song, because guess what? It didn't pop off anyway, because I still don't know who Rennie is, just like I still don't know who Amy is. Yeah, it's a bad thing to have happen, but I don't care in the context of love and hip hop. Okay. So Amy claims that she DM'd Rennie about stealing the song, and Rennie blocked her pretty much immediately. So it's like, all right, I see. Next. And speaking of next, Bambi at this point is in LA getting ready to shoot a music video for a song that she's putting out there. And Sierra actually comes over, because guess what? Sierra is going to be in the music video. So after Bambi does a couple of like photos and stuff like that, they decide to sit down, just the two girls, to talk about what's going on in their lives. And Sierra says that she has to go back to Atlanta early because her daughter Paris is being harassed by Sierra's fiance, Eric. And apparently what's been going on is that Eric has been going through Paris's room and even her purse and whatnot. And like, he talks crap about Sierra's kids in front of them and talks about wanting them out of the house. Now, Paris is a teenager, and then she's got an even younger brother. So it's just really gross, this stuff that's been going on. Sierra says that Eric is what she would consider to be ABUSIVE, jealous, insecure, and says that he degrades her in front of the kids, calling her all kinds of bitches and this, that, and the other. It's really, really bad. And another thing that's really whack about this guy is that he doesn't like for her to spend time with her own kids. Girl, how did you marry this man? Like, what? Here's a picture of this man for those of you who are forgetting what he looks like. How did you marry this? All of that, like all of those red flags waving in your face, and you still decided to secretly marry this man. To me, like the fact that you even had to sneak around and marry this man because you knew it wasn't a good idea, like, come on, that should have stopped you in its tracks. You should be proud to marry someone, not sneaking around, hiding it and everything. So now that complicates everything. She can't just get out of this and like, you know, casually move her things out. Now she has to go through the legal system in order to get rid of this man. Mind you, Bambi's really shocked to learn that Sierra is even married to this man, because Bambi's like, I've been trying to help you find wedding dresses, and we've been talking about the venue and stuff, and lo and behold, like, you've been hiding this big secret. That is just plain crazy. Speaking of crazy, let's get into Spice. She's fresh out of the hospital and everything. She can still barely walk, but she decides to meet up with her choreographer to plan for a quote unquote safer dance sequence in her concerts moving forward. So she's a dance hall artist. And so there's a lot of dancing. There's a lot of like whining, like with the hips and stuff. So it's a lot of core work. And she's just not ready to put that into practice, obviously, as you can tell by the cinching of it all there. Like, and so I was a little bit disappointed to see her kind of try to push herself in this capacity. You know what I mean? Like, be careful, girl. Don't let your BBL explode, right? Like, it's just not good. Just give yourself the time that your doctor told you that you would need. So the choreographer decides to just let her lead the class for a little bit, just like show him how low she can go. And so she gets to whining and stuff. And then she finds a place that is a little bit too far for her. Shekinah pops up to this rehearsal and she's really upset and concerned that Spice is even putting her body through this in this moment. And so she kind of like tells her like about her concerns, and Spice gets super duper like defensive and says no one can tell her what to do, this, that, and the other. And then all of a sudden, like she starts experiencing pain and she can like barely move anymore. And it's like, well, there you go. Like she's being a good friend by telling you something serious about like, you know, I don't want to say a mistake, but like you being a little bit reckless with your own health. And oh my God, you guys, you know, it was disgusting. When, as she was leaving, after cursing out Shekinah for being a concerned and honest friend, Spice tells her choreographer to teach Shekinah to dance so she can find a man. And I'm like, why do women use this as an excuse? Like, since when are men prizes? Okay, look at the suffering of every woman on this show caused by a man. First of all, you've got Rashida, who's been getting played by Kirk for many, 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 many years, right? Then you've got Bambi, who's getting evicted from her home because of Scrappy not paying his end of the rent and whatnot. Scrappy can't even pay child support for his other kids. And then you've got Jessica White, who was, you know, dogged out by Nick Cannon, who started breeding with everybody after she had her miscarriage and she found out about it from the news. Like, there's just so much wrong with the men that these women are meeting and whatnot. So the idea that it's someone considers it an insult to tell someone that they don't have a man and that they need to get one is just so ridiculous and pathetic to me. Sorry, but come on now. And by the way, men are so easy to pull. Let's keep it real. You can walk out of your house and in 2 seconds, you'll have like 10 men asking you for your number or something. So I really didn't like that, to be honest with you. So that's my little rant on that. Now, Angel, who is the girl that was there, tells Spice to be careful of Mita, who's the one who was coordinating the hospital visits for Spice, because Mita was telling the press about Spice's illnesses without running it through Spice first, like she was the leak. And she says that Mita is also trying to control who sees and has access to Spice against Spice's wishes. So it's like Spice said earlier, which was that she wasn't even on speaking terms with Carly. So it's weird that Carly was there and not Shekinah, right? So that's when it starts clicking in Spice's head that like, oh, wait, maybe this isn't a real friend. You know what I mean? And so now at this point, she's saying that she considers Carly Red to be an opportunist. So we'll see how that goes. Mind you, I knew about Carly Red before I knew about Spice, but I don't like dancehall music like that. And I'm not really into, I don't know how to say it. Like, I don't know. It's going to be bad, but I don't really care for these genres, okay? But I have been watching Love and Hip Hop from the beginning. And so for that reason, I knew about Carly Red before I knew about Spice, you know? So her saying that Carly Red is an opportunist kind of makes me laugh, especially because I know that Carly Red had relationships with Chris Brown. She had a relationship with Life Jennings, who was quite literally obsessed with her, like scary obsessed with her. You know what I mean? So I did find that interesting. I'm like, again, Spice, I can't name a Spice song, just like I can't name a Scrappy song. I'm going to have to look up these people's music after this to see if it's really popping like that. But I digress. Now, a little bit later, we get Durag Eric in the kitchen confronting Sierra about the issues in their relationship, her taking care of her kids and her businesses. He feels like he is at the bottom of her totem pole of priorities. So, you know, he's like, oh, like I never wanted to date like a woman with kids. Well, you didn't only date a woman with kids, Eric, you married a woman with kids. So it's too late for that, you know, absolutely ridiculous. And mind you, Sierra's daughter was 17 years old when they got together. So that's why he tried to make an exception. And then her son kind of came out of nowhere a little bit later to live with them before he was mainly living with his father. And I don't know how old Mason is, but it sounds like he's probably like anywhere from like 8 to 12 years old. Like he's going to be in the house for a while. And Sierra says that the real reason that Paris, her daughter, doesn't like Eric is because he swears at her, Sierra, in front of the kids, just puts her down, and she thinks it's toxic and she can't support it, which I get. I would feel the same way. Absolutely not. It's inadmissible. C'est inadmissible. So Eric said, and this is something that really icked me out. One thing I cannot stand is a man who refers to women as females. It's just so dehumanizing, degrading, and disgusting, right? So Eric in his confessional, he's like, oh, well, like I always wanted my next female to have no children. It's like, it just sounds so gross and impersonal and just disgusting. And it's not surprising, his character, right? Men who refer to women as females treat women the way that Eric treats Sierra. So never, ever, 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 ever get with a man who would refer to you or any woman in his life as a female, you guys. That is a big, bright red flag to run in the other direction. Now, the episode ends here with Sierra walking away from the discussion. She's like, I'm a strong, independent woman. You will not bring me down. I'm like, yes, girl, go head over to the divorce court and get rid of this man because you can do better. In fact, you shouldn't even be trying to do better. You should be alone for a little bit. Like, help your children heal through the trauma that this relation put them through, right? Jesus. Anyway, you guys, that does it. A recap of what went down on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, episode 2. And like I said earlier, if you want to watch the full episode or anything like that on MTV Canada, CTV Canada, make sure to get yourself a VPN. I've got an affiliate link to the one that I use in the description box down below. Let me know what you thought about the episode in the comment section. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.